I would define myself as an ultra cheap full-time traveler with a strong emphasis on ultra cheap. Now the content of my video today is gonna be about the fact that I'm about to put an end to my 4 months of staying in New York, one of the most expensive cities in the world. If someone would have told me 1.5 years ago when I started traveling that I wouldn't have been able to stay in New York and precisely in the middle of Manhattan with my teeny tiny budget, I would have answered with a big fat laugh. But I guess by practicing things you always get better at them, and since I was a teenager I've been practicing living cheap a lot. I don't know yet how much I spent exactly, but at the end of each trip I sit down with pen and paper and do the math. And I'll make the same about this trip, so I'll also make a video going through all the expenses that I've had in this trip and calculating the total. So if you're interested to know all the expenses that I had in this long experience in your city, you better subscribe and click the bell button so you get the notification when I publish that video. It's gonna be in a couple of weeks, I think. Without further ado, let's get into the video because I'm about to explain to you how I managed to stay in New York City for so long with my ridiculous budget. You've got to find your own way and personalize it for yourself in each situation. I can't tell you exactly how to do it, but you have to get very creative with it. And if you want to get some inspiration, you can go to my video how to save money while traveling that I'm gonna link in the description below. There's a whole section dedicated to how to find cheap or even free accommodation. There are many ways there, and to be honest, I'm gonna do a separate video just about how to find free accommodations, so look forward for that. Again, pay attention to the notification of this channel. And anyway, when it's gonna be ready, I will link it here. For the food, let's start with eating out, and for me, as I said in my New York City on a budget travel guide, the best deal in New York is the dollar slice pizza. But of course, it's not the only cheap food that I have here. From tacos to sandwiches to dumplings to Chinese food or bakery products, the choice is really broad here. And right now I am preparing a video about where to eat cheap in New York City. I will feature my best places here, my favorite spots where to eat on a budget. So look forward for that. Subscribe and click the bell button if you haven't already. And when the video is gonna be ready, I will link it here on the card. Okay, now the rest of the food you're gonna cook at home, which is, for me, it's fundamental if you're living on a budget and also if you're trying to live healthy, because you're never going to find a restaurant that is cheap and it's healthy at the same time. Because if the quality of the food is cheap, you need to put extra salt, extra oil, extra fat in order for it to be more flavorful. Whereas if you cook at home, you already have high quality food if you want, and you don't have to pay for the labor, for the rent of the place, for the table, for the service, and so on. So for me, a functional kitchen is a must. As you can see, the place where I'm staying has a very functional kitchen. It's perfect, I love it. Also because nobody here in New York cooks, even if the apartment is not super new, the kitchen is new. Like, it's literally the stove, the oven. I used them for the first time, I think. Everything was new from the shop, basically. The problem was that I had no forks, no cutlery, no knives, no cutting board, no plates where to eat, no kitchen supplies, no pans and pots. So I had to go and buy all this stuff. And as I mentioned again in this video here about how to settle in one place for a few months, what I tried to avoid at any cost was to buy all the things new, because these are not disposable things. These are things that last for years and years. So I didn't want to go buy everything new just for 3 months. So I tried to be as patient as possible. I did a lot of research and I collected the basic items in 1 or 2 weeks, but I spent really nothing and almost everything here is new. From a thrift shop, I got 1 big plate, 1 small plate, and 1 sturdy bowl. Then 2 knives. This one you know very well if you've watched my video about how I cut my hair while traveling. And this other one, which is even better, it's perfect to cut vegetables. Then I got a simple mug, a simple water glass. There is something here yet. Then I got this glass that I broke. Here I bought 2 forks, 1 big spoon, 1 tablespoon, 1 butter knife, 1 knife with the saw, 1 small knife for fruit and vegetables. Here I also have this IKEA thing that I take with me on traveling, this ladle and this spatula. This is actually not mine, but this is mine. I had to buy it new. I use it for cooking because this is worm resistant. And then another very important item was this cutting board. It's very sturdy. I love a sturdy cutting board. Then, very important, I bought a simple 99-cent dish detergent, a pack of sponges, and then I got a kitchen towel. Very simple, like this, which actually I ended up using for the shower because all the bathroom towels that I found were super expensive, whereas this one was only $3 or something, and it feels very nice, whereas I didn't like the other more expensive ones, so I started using it for the shower. And for the kitchen I went to Kmart and bought a pack of, it was 8 of these cotton little things, and I spent I think $5. And then last thing for cleaning, I bought a nice and solid microfiber towel. Then what I wanted to show you are some of the foods that I bought in bulk. So within the first week that I was here, I went to one of those bulk supermarkets with a friend of mine and I bought $50 of basic foods. This is obviously not all what I've got because many of the things I finished, other ones are in the cupboard, but just to give you an idea, this was a huge pack of rice. This is farro, which is kind of an Italian kind of rice. Some dried tomatoes to give flavor. Flax seeds, a huge bag, but it was only $1.99. Sesame seeds, a pack of almonds, this was essential. Some chocolate, I bought a big bag of chocolate because I made so many snacks with this. Instead of going to buy them around the city, sometimes I make cakes, sometimes I make brownies, sometimes I just eat a piece of chocolate like that. It's very useful. Of course, salt and olive oil, and for my breakfast, a huge pack of oats. This big boy is some grapeseed oil that I use for non-Italian kind of cuisine, and then other stuff, but at least you have an idea. And I also got this huge tomato puree thing. I made smaller portions of the content and froze them, and I recycled the big can to keep stuff. It's very useful. Okay, then if I move the camera a little bit, you will see these strange things hanging here. This is my underwear, clean underwear, because this is how I do laundry. So in New York City, you know that there is no washing machine in the apartments, and very often there is no washing machine in the building. So what people usually do is they go to the laundromat. Or even, for very busy people, they bring the stuff to small shops where they're gonna wash and dry the stuff for them. That is crazy. But I swear that there are many people in Manhattan who do that and pay a lot of money for it. But anyway, at the beginning of my stay here, I had to decide what to do with my laundry, how to do laundry. And I thought that I wanted to avoid at any cost to go to the laundromat. It takes so much time to pile up all your stuff and bring it there and activate the machine.
And then you have to go back and put it in the dryer machine and then to go back and then bring everything home.
And also it's expensive, and I have few clothes because I came here by carry-on also. So I cannot really wait for a lot of stuff to pile up and bring them to the laundromat because I don't have enough clothes, literally. So what I decided is that I would have hand washed my clothes. And to be honest, this was a great positive surprise because I thought I would have hand washed only the small things, and then eventually maybe the sweaters, the jeans, the pants, stuff like that, I would have brought them to the laundromat. But actually I did that only with the sheets. So how I managed this is the following. I went to look for a bucket. They are very common in Italy. It's like plastic buckets to hand wash clothes. But I couldn't find that anywhere. And it was very funny because I kept going to many shops because I couldn't find it. I kept asking to the people who work there about these hand washing buckets. And they were all so confused. They looked at me like I was an alien. Like, what does this lady have in mind? Anyway, at the end, I found a cheap plastic bucket that is supposed to be used with the mop to mop the floors. Plus, of course, I bought a cheap big bottle of detergent. This is how I do it. Here is the famous bucket. I put it in here. And actually now I'm gonna show you, because I have to do laundry anyways, so now I'm gonna show you how I wash my clothes. So easy, guys. It takes literally like 15 minutes to wash and rinse and squeeze your clothes, and then you just have to be very creative on how and where to hang them if you don't have the thing to hang them. I tried to buy it, but it was $15 minimum. I didn't want to spend so much money, so I just went creative. I had some hangers for the closet. Sometimes I use them, sometimes I've just hang on handles and stuff like that. Also, I thought it would have been cheaper and more convenient at the same time for me to buy training shoes and training leggings directly there. So that's what I did in a thrift shop, and I paid probably around $25 for both of them. Okay guys, this is my bike, and to be honest, this is one of the most important things of these 3 months in Manhattan. So, where does this wonder come from? This wonder comes from Park Slope, Brooklyn. I got it on Craigslist, which is an online website to sell used stuff online. So this is used. It wasn't looking like this when I got it. It was staying in a basement. It was full of dust and spider nets. It had holes in both of the tires and the brakes needed to be fixed. So there was a little bit of work to do. I got it for only 50 bucks, $50, it's like 40 euros or something. And then, to be honest, I didn't want to spend so much time on it. I could have fixed it myself, but I rather decided to invest a little bit more of money and bring it to a mechanic. So I paid other 50 bucks for the mechanic to fix the whole thing. And again, you have to be a little bit money smart because I had to negotiate with the mechanic. If I just went there and told him fix my bike, it would have been, I think, almost $100, but I asked him specifically to do just the bare minimum stuff and keep it within $50. And so he did. He was awesome, very happy for that. Another expense on the bike is the lock. The lock is very important. It is very important, especially for me, because I'm locking it outside on the street. I don't have a space for the bike in the building where I stay. And to be honest, the lock took me like 3 minutes to order online because I know exactly what I wanted. This is the 4th, I think, lock, the same model that I get in the last years. This is the best one that I know, and it's an Abus, which is a German brand, I think. And this is the old chain of Abus, It has this kind of lock, which is awesome. You put it in and then there is the key here. I've used it for years in Italy, in Germany, in Rome, in Padua, and I've never had a bike stolen. So this is awesome. By the way, if any one of you is looking for a lock for the bike or even motorbike, I will put the link to this one down below because this is golden. This is my golden thing for the bike. Oh, and I paid it, I think $34 or 34 euros, I don't remember. The last thing for the bike are the lights. For me, this wasn't an expense because I came prepared. I knew that I would have wanted a bike here in New York, so I brought my old lights from home. They're medium good lights, they are rechargeable, made in silicone, I love them. So total expense for the bike for me has been $100 for the bike itself, plus the lock. That's it. If I had decided to skip the bike and use only public transportation, this would have been the total cost. To be honest, if you're here in the good season like it happened to me, there's not so much effort to make to be entertained. When the weather is so good, just sitting at one of the beautiful many parks that New York City has to offer, doing a picnic or just going to listen to an open-air concert, even just watching people is already quite fun. Strolling around the neighborhood to find new thrift shops or gorgeous tiny hidden community gardens. There are really fun pearls here in this village. When I go somewhere pretty far, then I take the long way home at the end of the day so I can explore new corners or new neighborhoods. Or I go sit by one of the two rivers, or I go run there. Last time I was here, I stayed for 1.5 months almost, and it was in November and December, and the situation was very different. Then you have to really put some effort in finding some fun but still affordable things to do. And actually I have a couple of videos that show examples of what I was doing during that period. Fun things that ended up being very cheap or even completely free. I'll leave them in the cards here, but also in the description below because they are two videos. Here's a list of things that I did to entertain myself during these 3 months. I went to Roosevelt Island, I took the tram, and I took my bike with me, so I biked through the whole island when I got there. I took the free ferry boat to Staten Island. I went to a couchsurfing barbecue in Prospect Park, Brooklyn, also 1 hour and more of biking to get there and to get back, so that was fun. Plus, it was a super well-organized event. By the way, if you happen to be in New York City in the summer and you want to meet people, just go to these barbecues, they are awesome. I went to Coney Island, also I went there by subway, actually, even if you can bike there, it's like less than 1.5 hours, I think, by bike. But I prefer to take the subway, and I took my bike with me, so I biked around the whole island, I explored, and then I went to the beach. I went to Dumbo, Brooklyn, also a nice trip by bike from this village where I live, to go to a very beautiful free concert of classical music in a barge, on a barge. Like there's this guy a violinist, who bought a barge, I guess, and he made constructions, and now it's a small concert hall floating on this river. They have a normal program there, but they also make these free concerts from time to time, and actually it was one of you who texted me on Instagram and gave me this suggestion, so thank you to that person. I went to Jones Beach, one of the first days of spring. I even made a vlog about it. I actually went by car with friends, but a more accessible place would be Rockaway Beach. I did a picnic in Central Park. That's a classic in New York. You cannot avoid doing that on Sheep's Meadow, which is this big area. It used to be a sheep meadow. Now it's just a free space where people go there and they play frisbee, they meet up, they have picnics and all that sort of stuff. I took a few classes of yoga at Yoga to the People. Yoga to the People is a program here in Manhattan. I don't know if it's also in other boroughs in New York, but they have a few places where they do it, and it's a program based on donation. Suggested donation is $10 per lesson, but you can donate whatever you prefer. I went running by the river quite often. Here in this village we have the East River Park, which is pretty nice, really. It's especially in the summer, warm summer nights. I'm gonna miss that. Sometimes when I would have a couple of hours of free time or I have to go to the west side, I would take the bike lane from the west side to the tip of the island of Manhattan and back. It's an amazing bike track, really. I actually wanted to make a video, like a point of view video while biking there, because you pass through the financial district. And guys, it's awesome. If you are in New York, you like biking, you have to do that. You just take it from the west side. I suggest to do it this way because it's more spectacular. You pass right underneath the World Trade Center and the Freedom Tower. It's so beautiful. I went to a few block parties, especially in the spring. It's full of these block parties where they literally block the street and they have markets and street food and music. You can dance and all that kind of stuff. I went to a couple of flea markets. One is even in this vlog here. I put it in the cards. And when the sun was out, it was warm enough, but not too hot. I went sunbathing in the parks, which is literally an activity that everyone does here. Okay guys, I hope you liked the video. If you did, please smash that like button, subscribe to the channel for more content, and click on the bell button for the notification. And I hope to see you next time. Bye!